So, hi everyone! Today in this video we're going following on in our marathon talking about business and obviously always with some objective. Try to face the decision making that we tend to do that obviously sometimes they're a bit busy and so they can outcomes are not the best ones because decisions if you want to get high likelihood to get so outcomes that you pretend to do and for that you need to do decision makings. You need to understand better the reality, and the reality cannot be seen in this way. And so to understand what are the common biases that our brain tends to fall, that are obviously something that we should avoid, and then always following the same structure, talking about the beast. What are the real life examples to be even more illustrative, or we face them, when we're more susceptible to him, and how I could fight them. So we're gonna be the beast that we're gonna talk today is the consensus heuristic, also known as the bandwagon effect. And what is this? Is a mental shortcut or cognitive bias when we tend to follow the actions or beliefs of the majority, assuming that if many people are doing something, it must be the right or best choice. This cognitive bias leads us to adopt behavior, opinions, or trends of others, even if they may not be the best, the most rational or natural type of thing. So basically is seeing option as more valuable is like artificial value that is created by these bees, that just because it's as a characteristic that is made by a lot of people, we get so to kind of get artificial value addicted to that type of choice to act, and so be sometimes that sometimes can be something that can be differential between an option that is made and other one that is not, just because it's made by a lot of people, and so we have a tendency to be bandwagon. And first of all, just then that I'm talking about, I'm gonna go later on for real life examples, explaining why exists and has I have been said is not something that if brain has this type of base way to see the reality, not to see that this like imperfection in something that's just is bad. Not as any other type of heuristic is a shortcut that our brain tends to have, because our brain has a tendency to sometimes trade off a more long process of reasoning, and it tends to sacrifice this long time of thinking, preferring so to act shortly, taking a low time to decide, and so it tends to follow this type of specific type of mini laws that probably in the past they were and had utility, because Howard Chester, as I said, were someone that didn't have all this ability to have logical reasoning, either because they don't have all the brain developed as people tend to have, and obviously with the evolution of the species, but mainly because they didn't have the information that was needed to process and to think, because you think based in that as you say. If you not think, sometimes you get so the intuition, and sometimes I can call that cognitive is the kind of hard type of intuition, a way that they can be put in the intuition group of a process that people tend to have to make their decisions, that in opposite so exists the spectrum of a more logical reasoning, a more long type of process of thinking and processing the data that we tend to say that are best one, but we have to understand that is the one that as well spends more energy, and our brain has a tendency to don't wanting to spend. But why this specific one exists, the bandwagon effect? Because if we see in the past, what was so that you don't have a high type of ability to understand all the choices, having and seeing people have experienced the things or not, what will be someone that is living in the wild and sees the tribes always doing the specific behavior? Well, you have not seen any other type of tribe doing, and so you don't have like a reference level if the way that they're hunting a specific animal is good or not. So when you imagine that you're given a lot, what's going to be the way that you're going to hunt? The way that you have seen other ones doing it, obviously with the specific success or failures that have exist and you have seen, or you probably will try to create a new other way to hunt. Probably we will follow what? We will follow what you have seen that other people have done. That's reality. Obviously, that's something then we have a tendency to do it because we want to belong to the group. It's not just because we tend to think that can be the choice that other ones do have high probability to be good, but as well we have other type of thing that we get a lot in count, that is the our social position towards the other ones. Sometimes in this something that you see a lot, people that are not, they don't do the same as other ones, they were what, sometimes they're excluded, they're not seen as well. Who, that one is trying to be different. Why he's doing it is stupid. How everyone is doing the same as in the same way, why he's trying to be different. That's something that as well we tend to perceive it, and we're sensitive to positive and negative feedbacks, and we want to receive as much as possible as positive feedback. And what will be so the comfortable zone, doing the same that the other ones are doing it, because it as well requires less effort, because sometimes it's just following a pathway than other ones that have already created. So that's as well is something that we like, because diminish the effort that is so the active type of searching for doing the things in a different way. So that's why it's difficult to be and to be someone that's innovate, that bets innovation. That's why innovation is something that we praise. Neither always easy to do something that's different. We have to deal with negative feedback. We have to deal with the uncertainty, and that's something that neither everyone does likes. Some people likes more what is familiarity, and familiarity, it comes so a lot with other ones do, and so that's why bandwagon effect, that is a way that our brain has to act. So what are the real life examples? Think about a time when you saw a long line at a new restaurant. You might have joined the line. Even without knowing much about the food or the place, the longer the line, the more likely you are to assume it's worth the wait. This is the consensus heuristic in action. The belief that so many people can't be wrong drives you to follow the crowd, often without evaluating the actual quality of the experience. You have to understand that I'm not saying that's bad, doing the same that other ones is not. It's just that you do the action of doing the same as other ones just and because the other ones are doing it, and you not evaluate the essence of the things. So what was first principles? What's the real quality that is not artificial values that heuristics tends to put? Instead of evaluating if something that you have familiarity, if it's something that's scarce, if it's something that other ones tends to do, if it's something that or other type of things, so that contributes to that, and hard kind of anomaly they tends to be attached with the bees. Look for the essential of the question. What you really trying to try to heal of, that is so a need that you have. It's one of the best ways that you so cannot fall in these heuristics and the problems that they come. So one, we're more susceptible. People that like and have social proof, and everyone has to do as this type of thing, to like to create social proofs. We see many people engaging in a certain behavior, we're more likely to do the same, and so we as well, we have a tendency to have conformity, and so doing the same that other ones are doing, because we don't like to be different, because this brings us with uncertainty, with things, possibility to receive negative feedbacks. That's something that people are aware that can exist. So this is often seen in online reviews, where a product or service with many positive reviews gets more attention and sells. That's something that we see a lot, and that's something that's it's clear for everyone. Then trends and fads. So from viral challenges to fashion trends, the bandwagon effect makes us more likely to join a trend because everyone else is doing it. Groupthink. In group decision making scenarios, people may go along with what the majority thinks or does, even if they privately disagree, because they want to avoid conflict or feel a sense of belonging. And as I said prior as well, we don't like conflicts, because looking for our past, people that had conflict with the people that they are, they were so a higher probability to get excluded from the tribe, and people that were alone in the tribe, in the wildlife, they had like a much less probability to survive, and that's something that we praise. We want to, and we do like to survive. It's as much as important as to reproduce. It's like one of the, they're basically the two main reasons for why the species exist. So how to combat the consensus heuristic? Question the majority. When you notice yourself following the crowd, take a moment to ask, why I'm doing this? It's based on solid reasoning, or just because everyone else is doing it? Be independent, embrace critical thinking, and don't be afraid to make decisions that are different from the majority. Evaluate options based in your needs, values, and evidence. So basically, see what's the real value of the option, just based instead of basing in artificial value that these heuristics sometimes tends to create, and so that kind of pollutes the way that you see the reality. Focus in individual research, so that's something that you need rather than just following trends. Make decisions based on your own research and experience. But it's obviously you have to getting out that sometimes is useful. It's for someone that is in a paper to sell, you can use it in your favor. So see other ones, what the other ones are all doing it, probably so the probably your client perceives you as well because you're doing something that is kind of what these as well have a familiarity with. It's something that contributes to you. What do you have to understand? And I want you to clear. You don't want to demonize heuristic. You want you have to use it in your favor, and sometimes it's trying to avoid understanding. So when you're susceptible, and you should not be susceptible, and you not suffer when you're doing some critical choices. So that's why I wanting to aware, and that's why these videos can be available for you. So be aware of social media influence. That's one of the one that's more applicable to what happens today. Online platforms can amplify the bandwagon effect with influencers, viral trends, and popular opinions swaying decisions. Be mindful of the fact that social media can often push people to follow the crowd rather than thinking independently. So, this content has the objective to explain to you the consensus heuristic. I expect you makes you a bit more informed about it, and I expect I have helped you, and I expect you to have reciprocity to help me as well, subscribing and seeing the other videos. So see you in the next one.